Hi and welcome back. In the last video, we talked about setting up the constraints of the problem, and in this video, we're going to talk about graphing those constraints. Okay, so to get ready to graph those constraints, we have to make, I do believe that Kim wants you guys to graph these by hand. Um, so I'll go through some of the steps of getting it ready, getting all these equations ready to graph by hand, but I'm going to use a graphing calculator on the internet to do it. If you would like more information about how to graph inequalities by hand, just email me back and I can take you through that also. But for this video, I'm just going to graph those on the computer. Okay, so we have to get the inequalities ready to graph. X greater than 8 is ready to graph. Y greater than 8 is ready to graph. 6x plus 8y greater than 208 could be in a better form, and I would like that to be in y equals mx plus b form so that we know the y-intercept and we know the slope, and it's a lot easier to graph by hand. Okay, so x greater than 8 is ready to go. This is the one that we've got to get ready. Okay, so for the second step, what I did was I subtracted 6x from each side. Oh, that should be, instead of equals 208, that should be a plus. Okay, and then for the next step, I just divided everything by 8. So 8y got divided by 8, leaving y, and negative 6x got divided by 8, leaving negative 6 over 8x, and 208 got divided by 8, leaving 208 divided by 8. And then I simplified that. Negative 6 over 8 simplifies into negative 3 over 4. And 208 divided by 8 was actually 26. Okay, and this, the c equals 15x plus 18y, we are not going to graph that. That's the thing that we want to minimize. So we'll deal with that in a few minutes after we get everything graphed. Okay, and at this point, I want to exit this and I want to hop over to the graphing calculator, and I want to graph those things. So I want to graph x is greater than 8. And I also want to make sure that if I'm doing that by hand, that I shade the appropriate side. So I shaded everything that was greater than 8. Okay, the same thing with y has to be greater than 8. So greater than 8, I'm going to shade that. Okay, and next is going to be, we said y is greater than negative 3/4 x plus 26. Okay. And what I'm going to concentrate on is where all of these graphs overlap each other. Okay, and that is going to be in this area, this really dark region right here. Okay, and the points that we're interested in are the ones that are generated by that dark bounded region right there, namely this one right there and that one right there. Okay, now of course when I scrolled over this right here, it showed me what those points are. Okay, but if you're doing this by hand, it doesn't turn out to be that easy, so we have to figure out what those are. Okay, so let's go back to here. So our first point's going to be right here. Oh, my bad, right there, because that's the dark region where everything overlaps, and we want those boundary points. Okay, so there's the first intersection, and that's the one, and we can see that this is the line x is greater than or equal to 8. So we know that x is 8 right there. And this line right here is the one that was y greater than or equal to negative 3/4 x plus 26. So we want to know where those two lines intersect. And we already know that x is 8, so let's just plug in 8 and see what we get. Okay, and that's what I did there. And then simplified. And then simplified again. Finally, y is 20. So our point is 820. Now, second one. This is the one I want to concentrate on, this one over here, created by this intersection right here. Okay, and we know there that this line is y is greater than or equal to 8. So we know that y is 8 right there, so let's plug it in. Okay, so plug it in to y is greater than, or y is equal to negative 3/4 x plus 26, because that's what that line is, and that point is the intersection of those two, this one and this one. So that was a repeater. So simplify. I just subtracted 26 from each side. Now I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of negative 3/4. In other words, I'm multiplying each side by negative 4/3. And that's what I get when I do that. And that simplifies into x equals 24. So this is the second point, not the first point. This is the second point. So the second point is 24/8. So we're going to be testing the points 820 and 24/8 to minimize c equals 15x plus 18y. And we'll be doing that in the next video.